In ages past, when the last of the Mahakt kings were slain, a new empire emerged from the ashes of war. At its forefront were the Lazaks. They chose Mechatol Rex as the seat of their fledgling empire and swept through the galaxy, issuing the same command to every civilization they encountered, except the benevolent sovereignty of the Empire. Few resisted. The tyranny of the Mahakt had primed the galaxy to welcome new rulers, and the Lazaks' promises of fairness did not fall on deaf ears. Of those who rejected their law, no record remains. For tens of thousands of years, the Lazaks ruled. They shared the wealth and knowledge of the universe with their subjects. Economies flourished, medicine and engineering advanced, and the great races worked together in harmony. The peace of the Lazaks' empire was known to all, but beneath the veneer of prosperity festered complacency. The Lazaks' emperors grew comfortable, blind to the rising ambitions of those beneath them. Then came the spark. The Letnev established a blockade around the Quan wormhole. The humans of Sol, fostering no love for the Letnev, fired upon it, igniting full-scale war. When the Lazaks' military intervened, both sides turned on them. The Hylar seized the moment to secede. Within years, the empire had devolved into chaos. A disillusioned Lazaks counselor named Ibn Vel Cid foresaw the inevitable. He begged the emperor to consolidate his military might at Mechatol Rex. The emperor dismissed him. Furious, Vel Cid fled beyond the borderlands with loyal followers, destroying the Hall of Cartography behind him so none could follow. The final fate of the Lazaks was sealed when a massive fleet of Sol ships appeared without warning in the skies above Mechatol Rex. With the Lazaks' fleet away, the city was defenseless. The last emperor, Salai Saikorian, died in the bombardment. In the years that followed, the Lazaks were hunted down and exterminated without exception. Within 20 years, they were but a memory. Without the unifying presence of the Lazaks, the empire quickly devolved into chaos and war. The great races, no longer shackled by imperial sanctions, clashed over territory, positions of power, and in some cases, out of spite. The Sol, Hakan, and Jol-Nar, complicit in the betrayal of the Lazaks, sought to cannibalize what remained of imperial power. Vast fleets exchanged deadly volleys in massive battles. Thousands of ships and lives were sacrificed for the most minuscule of territorial gains. For each battle won, another was lost, and the wars continued unabated. Millennia have passed since the final battles of the Twilight Wars. The horrors of that age have faded from memory, replaced by a quiet stillness. Over time, the great races have recovered a portion of their former strength, and many homeworlds have returned to their pre-war states. Yet beneath the placid surface, the galaxy stirs. Some, no longer content within the bounds of their reduced territories, look beyond their home systems. Cautious explorers chart new routes into systems never before touched by civilization. Newly discovered garden worlds, overflowing with natural resources, funnel rare minerals into the economies of those fortunate enough to find them, ushering in an era of revitalized prosperity. Even as the present blazes a path toward the future, the past has come back to life. The races of the galaxy are re-establishing their former colonies. Some long-lost outposts have been found thriving in the absence of war and welcomed back into civilization. Others, once bustling commercial hubs and centers of culture, have been found utterly devoid of life, littered with the skeletons of ancient starships, grim reminders of the wars of ages past.
The Lazaks, founders of the greatest empire to span the galaxy. But before them, the galaxy was ruled by the dreaded Mahakt, gene sorcerers who divided the stars into feudal holdings through powers of cloning and manipulation, nearly akin to magic. Their dynasties crumbled under decadence and infighting. The Lazacs crushed what remained and built their empire on the legacy of liberators. For 24 millennia, the Lazacs ruled. Then they fell, and the old horrors they had buried did not forget. When scholars unlocked an archive predating the Lazacs empire itself, they found a map to Ixth, fabled paradise, promised land of 1,000 faiths. The Creus mobilized an armada, found a lonely world of dust and black oceans, and beneath its deepest sea, an artificial wormhole of unimaginable power. They stepped through, expecting paradise. They were wrong. Ixth was a tomb, and in opening the gate, they awakened the Mahact. Exiled by the Lazacs, entombed to wait, the Mahact remade the Creus into loyal servants and moved with single-minded fury. They unbound the wormhole from Acheron, hurling Ixth into the galaxy's heart. The act shattered the planet, tore reality asunder, and through the wound spilled the Vwil Wraith, ravenous creatures from a parallel dimension. In their bid to retake the galaxy, the Mahact had unleashed a threat that may prove more dangerous than themselves. Now, the galaxy churns toward war. The Titans of Ul rise from beneath the ground. Once slaves of the Mahact, millennia of slumber have freed their minds from domination. The Argent Flight, long devoted to ensuring the Mahact would never return, abandons its secrecy and prepares for holy war. Black-hulled ships of the Empyrean lurk on the edges of known systems, while mercenaries flock to the Nomads' promises of fantastic wealth. And the newly formed Naz-Rokar Alliance watches its peers with contempt, asking, "Isn't it time for a younger species to chart the course of galactic affairs? New races arrive at Mechatol Rex, hungry for power or ancient technology. Lost weapons of immeasurable destruction are quietly rebuilt in the shadows. The throne of Mechatol City sits empty, awaiting those with the power to claim it. The great races reach from their ancestral homes, feeding the flames of their war machines, each determined to become the indisputable ruler of the stars. An epoch of great struggle threatens to engulf the galaxy once more. It is a time of steadfast alliances and bloody betrayals, of words and of war, of deep-seated honor and hard-won glory. It is the dawn of a new era. Pax Magnifica, Bellum Gloriosum!